and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm Priscilla. I'm the owner of A Life Full of Simplicity. So today's video will be all of my Oracle decks from 2022. So these are all the Oracle decks that came into my collection in 2022, whether I bought them myself or they were gifted to me or sent to me for review. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in, but I did want to mention that if you haven't seen my tarot decks from 2022, definitely check that out. I will leave it linked in the cards above. You can check it out in the top right hand corner, click the eye, and the video will be linked there. So let's jump right in. So the first deck that I brought into my collection in 2022 for Oracle, that was the Enchanted Map Oracle cards by Colette Baron-Reid. This is published by Hay House. So I wanted this deck when I heard that it was being re-released, because this is the second edition of the Enchanted Map. They made several changes, including the fact that the artwork is now borderless. There's no more brown borders. The backs have changed, as you can see here, and the titles have changed as well in terms of them being blue instead of the brown color that they were originally. And I like this edition a lot more than the first edition, so I wanted to pick it up. It was on sale when I picked it up. That's really the advantage there, and the reason why I decided to get it was because it was on sale. I haven't used it too much in 2022. I think I used it most for reading with other people, or reading for other people rather. It does read well, in my opinion, for other people, but you're not going to get much in terms of the information here at the bottom. It is just a title. It's not really keywords, in my opinion, though sometimes I feel like they're decent enough that you can use them with your own intuition or just like see what's going on in the imagery, in my opinion. But yeah, I do like it. This is probably not my favorite from her. I do have other ones that I enjoy way more, like the Wisdom of the Oracle, I think, or Wisdom Oracle, or something of the sort. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's a red box. That one I like way more, in my opinion. But I still like the deck. I just have other decks from her that I love more. So yes. It's definitely interesting, though, in my opinion, I have to say. The artwork is beautiful. Jenna Della Grottaglia does a great job, in my opinion. And yeah, I love her artwork too. But I would say that if you were looking for something more with keywords, this deck isn't it, is what I'm going to say for that. The next deck that we're going to take a look at here is the Seed and Sickle Oracle deck. This is by Fez Inkwright and published by Liminal 11. This deck was sent to me for the purposes of review from Liminal 11, and this is probably one of my most used decks in 2022. I actually really love this deck so much. Like, I know there's no keywords on the cards, but I don't mind that too much. I do work with the guidebooks, both guidebooks, because there are two guidebooks that come with this deck. One is specifically for like productivity, like starting new projects, business, things like that. And then the second one is more like mind, body, soul kind of connection, mental health, kind of self-care, more related. And I do work with both, and they do have like an index in the beginning that has keywords in it, and I personally absolutely love that. That's typically what I will use. Look at the keywords. If I need more information, then I will go to the little blurb that's in the guidebook to look at it more in depth. But I love the artwork. There's some very interesting things going on in the cards. For example, here's the lavender, but we also have this ointment bottle as well. We have the flower, the bluebell. We have a book here that has two arrows going through it, which is really interesting in my opinion. So there's definitely some interesting things happening within the card itself that I feel like there's a lot of information there that you can use to your advantage as well, in my opinion. But yes, I do work with the guidebooks. The guidebooks are lovely, and I love them very much. My favorite, though, is the Dusk guidebook. That's the one that I use most in regards to like self, because the Dawn one is really in regards to like starting new projects and things like that. I do use that one if I am getting ready to start a new project and I want to pull some cards to understand that better. But typically, I just focus on the Dusk guidebook for this particular deck here, but I do love this deck very much, and it's definitely one of my most used in 2022. I use it several times throughout 2022, so yeah, definitely a favorite of mine. Then we have When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck. This is by Melissa Salvaggio, artwork by Jess O'Connor. This is published by US Games. This deck was hard to come by. It was like out of stock for like the longest time on Amazon, but I was finally able to get my hands on it I think it was in March? No, in February of 2022. And I'm really happy I did. I love, look at this edging, so gorgeous. It's like an antique kind of gold with sparkles. And I love this deck so much. Very simple. It pairs great with like so many different decks that I have. I pair it with quite a number of different tarot decks, which I absolutely love. This is another one that's probably one of my most used as well in that I used in 2022. And even now, I've been using it recently. In 2023, I absolutely love it. But it's absolutely gorgeous watercolor. It pairs beautifully with so many decks. It just does have a like one keyword on the card itself. The guidebook has more keywords in terms of like upright reversed. It has more information in terms of like what chakra it's part of, because this is like chakra based. And there's like even explanations on why they chose this particular, whatever's in the image, they talk about why they chose this particular thing or flower or animal or whatever it is to be linked with this particular keyword. And I really love that, actually. It's really gorgeous. And very interesting. I love when creators do that, because then you get to see why they chose a particular thing for the card that they made. There are like the chakra cards and whatnot. I love this transformation card. Of course, a butterfly makes 100% sense. And then we have manifest. But yeah, it's great. It's small, which I love. So travel size, which we need more of in terms of oracle decks. Honestly, there's not enough mini oracle decks in the mass market realm. We definitely need more of these to be able to travel with and just have them for that kind of purpose, because it's absolutely amazing. I love this deck so much. Then we jump into the Mystic Mondays, the Cosmic Creatures deck. This is by Grace Duong, and it is published by Running Press, their RP Studio line. And no, this was not sent to me for review. I only became an ambassador for Running Press in August of 2022, and I bought this in February. So I did buy this myself. I am a big fan of Mystic Mondays. I have their tarot deck, and I love it very much. And I bought their Crystal Grid deck the year before, which came out in 2021. And I love that deck so much. And when I heard she was coming out with an animal deck, I was like, yes, please, thank you. And I bought it. I just ordered it. I was like, yes, thanks. I love her art style. It's very interesting because it's like that digital kind of art style, but I do really enjoy it and love it very much. There are no keywords on the cards, which is the only thing that I wish there was. There are keywords in the book, and the guidebook is fantastic, but I do wish that there were keywords on the cards. I do use the guidebook just to look at the keywords, because sometimes I'm like, okay, duck, what am I supposed to get from that? So yeah, I do look at the guidebook to get the keywords. Unless I know a specific animal, I might just come up with my own keyword. Like, for example, unicorn, I think of like uniqueness, independence, probably. Being yourself, things like that. But sometimes I'm just like, what, like, I don't know. Like tiger, I don't know. Spider is usually about a weaving, it could be dreams, typically, sometimes. Spiders are also known for like ancestors, weaving connections and things like that. So I don't know, you can really come up with your own keywords if you wanted to. I've thought about putting the keywords on the cards, but I'm not very good with like modding stuff. So I don't know if I want to do that. I love this owl. The sloth is probably my favorite. It's so cute. We have a fly, which is very interesting. I thought that was really interesting, actually, because like usually we don't really see like that kind of animal in like an animal deck. And I do love it. It's matte, which is really nice. It's a really nice deck, and I've been using it quite a bit recently. I didn't use it that much in 2022. I used it a bit, but not that much. But I've been using it a lot now because I've been using the Mystic Mondays app, and I've been doing my daily polls. So I've been using this deck with her other two decks in that regard. So yes, I'm stoked about this deck. I really love it, and I'm excited to see more of it in 2023 that I've been using it now. So I'm excited to like continue using it and get to know it way more than I did in 2022. Then we move into the Rose Oracle. This is by Rebecca Campbell, artwork by Katie Lewis, or Louise rather. This is published by Hay House. Now, I pre-ordered this actually last year, or did I pre-order this? Yeah, I think I pre-ordered this last year. And I do love it because I love this style of artwork. Now, this is not a Danielle Noel, but the art style is similar to that because it's like a collage kind of artwork. So I don't mind that it's not Danielle Noel's artwork. I know she's been busy creating her own stuff, so she hasn't partnered with Rebecca Campbell on this deck or her next deck that's coming out this year, Healing Waters. I'm really excited about that deck, actually. I really want it. And I really wanted this one because I love her other two, which is the Work Your Light and the Starseed, which I really love. I'm just the box style I'm not really a fan of, but it seems like this will be her box style for the rest of her decks, it seems like. But yes, I thought this concept was unique. It really dives into like the femininity, like the goddess archetype, pretty much, that which she calls Mother Rose within the guidebook. And in 2022, I got it and I liked it and I did nothing with it. Like absolutely nothing. But this year in January, I felt the pull to use it. So I have been using it in January and I really love the messages that I have been getting. They feel very gentle and very loving, which I really love. And it definitely feels more of a connection to that femininity, that feminine power, that divine feminine aspect, for example. So I've been really enjoying that part of it. And I'm assuming that maybe last year it just didn't call to me to use, but now it's called to me to use. So now I've been using it, but I didn't really work with it much last year. But so far, I've really been enjoying it, and I'm excited for her upcoming deck, which is water-based, which I really love. Actually. I love water-based decks, so that's really nice. And I'm excited to get that. I don't use this with tarot. I don't know what to use it with, to be honest with you. I don't have any mass market decks that really fit with this deck. I know that if I got like Danielle Noel's tarot or something, it would probably fit well. But I don't have Danielle Noel's tarot deck. So for now, I'm just going to use it just like that to pull a message from Mother Rose, and that's really it. And we'll see where I go from there with it. Then we have the Illustrated Herbiary, Bestiary, and Crystallary Oracle cards. These are all by Maya Toll, illustrated by Kate O'Hara. So these are quite interesting. This is a Lisa Made Me Do It. I quite like the cards that are here. I love the artwork. It's really beautiful. They all have like the same backs, so they could be made into like whatchamacallit, like a giant oracle deck. I don't do that. I keep them separate because I sometimes work with them separately. I've really enjoyed working with them. The artwork is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't say that they were my most used. I used them a bit in 2022. I definitely want to work with them a bit more in 2023, but from what I have used them for and the experience that I've had with them, it has been great. I have literally no complaints whatsoever. So yes, here is the Bestiary. I love this so much because it reminds me of Athena. This looks like the owls that they don't fly. They have like a nest underground. They just run, which is really interesting. Worms. But yeah, they have great key phrases on the top, which I really love. And I feel like while they're not keywords, I feel like they really fit well with the imagery that's being presented to us. And I feel like they're easy to read without the guidebook, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely a good 3 good Oracle decks. I really want her to put out the 4th book that she has, because you can get these in books, but the Oracle cards that come with them are not good card, like they're cardboard. It's not good cardstock. And I really want her to put out the wisdom one. I don't remember the full name of it. It's wisdom something, wisdom of seasons or something. I don't even remember, but they're like season cards, and I want her to put them out in like this format, or I want the publisher to put them out in this format. And I hope they eventually do, because I would love to add that one to this set. It might be more square, because that one's more square than Oracle sized, but I really want that one to come into my collection as well, so I can use those, because those are season based, which is really interesting. But I love these decks. I would say that these are some of my favorites as well. They're absolutely fantastic, and very affordable too. I bought all 3 of them. They were like 20 bucks each, or less than that Canadian, and you can find them for even less than that in the US, obviously. So yeah, I really enjoy these decks, and I really want to use them more in 2023. I'm hoping maybe in the spring to get them out and do some things with them. Maybe create some spreads and do something interesting with them. Maybe I can film a video doing something interesting with them. We'll see. I have ideas, but you know, I have so many ideas, so little time kind of thing. So we'll see what 2023 brings. Then we have the Woodland Wardens Oracle deck. This is by Jessica Rue, published by Andrews McMeel Publishing. And this was another one that's probably my most used. I used it a lot in the fall. I used it actually when I got it, which was like spring, and then I used it again a lot in the fall. I absolutely love this Oracle deck, honestly. I think it's so fun. There's so the premise of this is that there's an animal, and there's like a plant or a fruit, or you know, I don't know, something that is plant-like. And I really love it because the animals are like forest vibes, you know, like foresty animals, or animals you would find in some kind of forest, whether it be an actual forest or like an Amazon forest or like a swamp forest or something of the sort. And I really love that, because I didn't have, like, I have quite a number of Oracle decks that are animal based, but I didn't have anything that was specifically catered to animals that you find specifically in some type of forest. And I like that more, because there's a lot more animals that you can add in here that I didn't really think about in terms of, and that you might not see as much, in my opinion, like a quail, for example. That's really interesting. But yes, I absolutely love this. I love the, I actually don't mind the borders. A lot of people don't like the borders. They cut them off and things like that, which is totally cool. Like, you do you, it's your deck. I actually don't mind them, and I don't care. So I leave them on, obviously. The cardstock, I love the cardstock. It makes that sound. And I love that so much. A lot of people don't like that, but I love that. It's so fun. And the backs are gorgeous. I love this. I love this deck. I love her art style. I do have a book of hers, the Florography. Let's see if I can just move that here like that. This one here, that's also by her artwork and things like that. So yes, big fan. Another one that was probably used a good chunk of 2022, and another one that's probably my top faves. Then we move on to the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. This is by Lorianne Anderson, Juliette Diaz, and illustrated by Giada Rose. This is published by Rockpool Publishing. Now, I pre-ordered, did I pre-order this? Yeah, I pre-ordered this, and I love this deck so much. Out of the 3 that there's currently out, this one's probably my favorite. It has to do with Beltane. And I love it. So fun. I love her art style, and this one's definitely not as dark as the other 2, Samhain and Yule. Obviously, those take place within like darker months, especially Yule, you know, is the darkest time of year. But I feel like this one is like way more brighter, way more colors, because it's like the start of spring, I believe, or just after spring or something. No, I think this is spring. So yes, I love it so much. I am a bit disappointed that Giada Rose won't be illustrating the next one. It is a different illustrator and a different art style. Now, while I am disappointed because I really like her art style, I don't plan to use them all together. They will be used for their respected season or holiday or whatever you want to call the Wheel of the Year. And so that's the only way that I can actually look past that, the fact that they changed artists, is because I won't be using them together. But I'm still a bit disappointed. But I do plan on getting the next one, which is Mabon. So hopefully it's just as good. We shall see. Then we move on to the Elemental Oracle. This is by Stacey DeMarco, artwork by Kinga Britschke. This is also published by Rockpool. It has gilded silver edges. Now, I bought this because I really, I love the Queen of the Moon Oracle, which is by the same duo. They have several decks together, actually. They have an animal one, which I don't have, and then they have a newer one that came out, which I don't have also. I wanted this one because I don't have anything like this particular deck in my collection in terms of the subject that's here. So I really wanted to bring this in. It had been on my wish list for a while. It was on sale, so I picked it up. I love her artwork. It's definitely like a collage, modern collage, things like that, which is fine with me. I do like that sometimes. It depends on really on the deck and what's going on, but majority of the time I really like this kind of artwork. Now, I haven't used this. I did film my unboxing, posted that, I think. I think that's on my channel already. I don't know. I would have to check. But if it is, it'll be linked down below in the description box. But I did like this deck very much, and I do plan to use it. I just haven't used it yet. So how does it read and things like that, I don't know. But if it reads as well as the Queen of the Moon, then I don't think I'll have a problem with it, to be honest, because the Queen of the Moon Oracle reads rather nicely. I do love that deck very much. So I'm assuming that it'll probably read similarly to that one. Wow, I can't speak. Since it's by the same author, Stacey DeMarco. I do want to bring in the other two that they have at some point, the animal one, and then the newest one that they put out, but I don't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, I'm only missing the other two from them to bring into my collection at some point. Then we have the Divine Feather Messenger deck and book set. This is by Allison DeNicola, artwork by David Schreier, and published by US Games. So I've wanted this deck for a while. It has all feathers on one side, and then the birds and like an affirmation kind of short little message on the other side, which I really, really, really love. There is a guidebook that goes into more detail, which is also very nice, but I feel like the messages that you receive on the cards are pretty self-explanatory, and I don't really use the guidebook as much unless I want to read more about the bird itself, because the guidebook does talk about the bird. And I love that. Honestly, I love that very much. Sometimes when I see specific birds, I will pull their card, if it's in here, in the deck, to see what its message is for me. Like recently, I've been seeing a lot of finches and cardinals, which is really cool. So I pulled the cards of those in here, and I actually pair this with the White Sage Tarot because it literally pairs so beautifully, these two particular birds. And I did a reading on them in regards to like their messages here that they had for me. It was so nice. I absolutely love this deck. It's really cute. It's a mini deck also. Honestly, this deck doesn't take up that much space. Easy to travel. It's like a really slim box. Very easy to travel with, in my opinion, and it reads really well, and the messages are very nice. I really enjoy the messages that are on the cards, as well as the extra added information in the guidebook, which typically with these kind of decks where there's messages on the cards, like a lot of the time people don't make a guidebook. So I love that they added the guidebook with this because it feels like it adds more information and just expands on what's going on in the card, which I really love. Then we move on to The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein, artwork by Michaela Ezra. This is published by Hay House. This is an affirmation deck. I have the Super Attractor, and I was missing this one. I'm also missing her latest one, which is Spirit Junkie. That one's still on my wish list. I found this at my Winners, which is the same thing as HomeSense, HomeGoods, TJ Maxx, Marshall. They're literally all owned by TJ Maxx. So they're all literally the same to me. And I found several books and this deck when I went one time. They were like, they had all the stock and it was so good, like so good. And it was relatively cheaper, much cheaper than it's sold on Amazon. This is like, I don't even know, 20 something dollars, over 20. It's like over 25, I think, in Canada. Does it say? It's $28.99. And I think I bought this for like $7 or $8 or something. So yeah, perfect purchase for me, in my opinion. And I love these kind of decks. Honestly, they're just a quick little affirmation. You just pull a card, read the message. And the messages in here are rather, positive and uplifting, which sometimes I feel like are necessary. Like for me personally, sometimes I just need that uplifting moment. So I do like the messages that are in here. And yeah, they just feel very nice. This one says, in every moment, the universe is conspiring to bring me toward right-minded thinking and the energy of love, which is very lovely. But yes, they all have similar backs too, just with the middle, I think the plant being different and then the middle being a different color, but all similar types of backs, which you can also end up making a large oracle affirmation deck with those three as well. So I'm very happy that I brought this into my collection, especially for the price that I paid for it. Like, I'm not mad at it at all. Then we have the Priestess of Light Oracle. This is by Sandra Ann Taylor and Kimberly Weber. This is also published by Hay House. So I bought this while on vacation in Ontario last year in July, I believe it was. Let me just double check. Yeah, July. I bought this in July. So I've wanted this deck for a while, actually. It's been on my wish list for quite some time. And I'm really glad that I brought it into my collection, though I have not used it yet. When it was in 2022, I haven't used it. I still haven't used it now. I don't know what to pair it with. And I really wanted to pair I want to pair it with it. Actually, that's not true. I did use it in 2022. I used it as for my weekly practice, I think 1 month. But that's it. I didn't use it any other way other than that. And I really loved it for my weekly practice. But I really want to use it in readings, but I want to pair it with something, and I don't know what to pair it with. Though there is a deck coming out this year in 2023 called the Art Nouveau Egyptian Tarot, and I feel like it would pair beautifully with that deck. And I really want that deck. It's one of my anticipated releases for 2023, but I don't know. We'll see when it comes out and if I end up getting it. But yeah, I do want something to pair with this because I don't know what to pair with it. I don't have anything in my collection that would fit, honestly. But I do love the fact that they have a title, they have keywords on the cards. So you can literally just go with that when reading, which is great. I feel like it gives you enough information to read intuitively without needing to go through the guidebook. Though the guidebook has a lot of great information. Like a lot of great information. So you can still use the guidebook if you want to, but sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I really like what's on the cards. It feels like it allows me to just go, oh yes, I know what this means, and just boom, 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 write it down, without having to be like, what is this? What are the keywords? Because at least the keywords are on the card. So that's a great advantage for this particular deck and why I really like it. I just wish I would use it more. I just want something to pair with it so I can use it in my typical way of using Oracle and Tarot, because typically I pair them together, and that's just because of my specific practice. But we'll see in 2023 if I can find something to pair with this that's not crazy expensive. Then we have the Wild Unknown Alchemy Oracle. This is by Kim Kranz. This is published by Chronicle Prism, which is an imprint of Chronicle Books. Now, I absolutely love this deck. I am a huge fan of Kim Kranz. And when she announced that this was going to be her last deck for the Wild Unknown series. Now, I don't know if she's going to be making more decks or what. It's going to be a new series. I have no clue, but she announced this was going to be her last deck. So I don't know if that's just for this particular series, the Wild Unknown, or if she's no longer making decks, period. Who knows? I don't. But when she announced this deck, I was like, yes, 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 I need this. Yes. So I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it as soon as I found it. No pictures, no nothing. Pre-order now. That's what I did. And I ended up having a gift card for Amazon. So I actually paid way less than what this deck costs. And it's like $60 or over $60. I don't know. It's very expensive in Canada. It's like $60 or something like that. But I paid like $13 because I had a gift card. So great on that, I have to say. But I love the unique style of the deck. I love that it's hexagon shape. And I'm very intrigued by this deck. I did work with it a bit when I got it. I do want to work with it way more this year and study it a bit more because this is very unique. You need to work with the guidebook with this particular deck. The guidebook has so much to offer, in my opinion. It has both the Latin and the English on the card, though I believe there's a few cards that have Greek instead of Latin, but anywho, but it's definitely interesting, and I'm a big fan of her work. I have all her decks, and I would assume that if you've been watching my channel from the beginning, you would already know that because I say that in like every deck unboxing that involves her decks. Like literally, I always say that I have all her decks, and you can literally see all of her decks when I do lives with Cosmic Lunar Soul, Brittany. They're literally behind me on the shelf. They're all together. They sit on the shelf together. And I absolutely love them. Her art style is very unique, very interesting. So yes, I do, as I said, use the guidebook with this particular deck because I'm not familiar with the subject of this, which is alchemy, right? But yes, I love it. Her guidebooks are very well structured, in my opinion. The whole deck is well structured. It's structured into its own suits and things. So I always have a great time when I'm using her decks. Her archetypes one is probably one of my favorites, especially for shadow work because of the topic of it, because it's archetypes, right? So yeah, so I'm very intrigued to get into this deck a lot more. I did work with it for like a month or two. I think I worked with it like 2 months when I got it. But I definitely want to work with it a lot more because there's still so much to dive into when it comes to this particular deck. So I just want to dive into it way more and really focus more on each card and what each card has to offer and things like that. But so far, I'm really loving it, and I can't wait to get into it more. This deck is actually really easy to shuffle, just so you know. You just hold on the sides. But I'm clumsy, so I'm like dropping a bunch of things. I also have like a tripod right in front of me, so it's really hard to shuffle when I have like stuff in my way. But when I don't have stuff in my way, it's easy to shuffle, I promise. I'm just being clumsy right now. Then we have the Earth Alchemy Oracle. Now, this is by Katie Jane Wright and illustrated by Nikki Strange. This is published by... Who's this published by? Watkins something? Yeah, Watkins Publishing. And I was so ecstatic when I heard that they were doing another deck together. I have their animal deck that I got. When did I get that? In 2020, 2021, something like that. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. But I got it a while back, and I love that animal deck very much. I love her art style. So I was really ecstatic when they announced that they were making another deck together. And I love this deck. First of all, it's small. So it is pocket-sized-ish. To me, it's small enough to fit in a small bag, in my opinion. Very easy. And I love the format that they have. So Nikki's art style is very interesting. I do really love her art style. It's like really gorgeous. But they have like the crystal and like the plant or whatever is going on. Like a title, the element, and then some keywords at the bottom. And I love this deck. It pairs with so many different things. I've had a blast using it with multiple decks, honestly, multiple tarot decks. And I just love the energy. I love the energy of this deck so much. It's absolutely amazing. I'm entranced. I love it. The messages were amazing. I started using it as soon as I got it, and I paired it with multiple different things. And the messages have been really interesting, and I just love it. I still haven't found all the keys, by the way. If you saw my unboxing of this, I still don't know where all the keys are. There's like, I think I'm still missing 2 cards that have keys, but I don't know which ones. I'm gonna have to look again. But yes, I know this is one. That one, this one, and then I don't know what else. But I love the messages in this. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just really great. And I've had a really great time. It is glossy, in case, see, it's glossy. But I don't mind that, actually. It shuffles nice. It shuffles really well. And I feel like the keywords are enough, though there is a guidebook, and the guidebook, in my opinion, is well written. It does shuffle. It's slippy, but I don't mind that because it's a small deck, so I can care less. But I do love this so much. If I had to pick between this one and their animal deck, I would pick this one over that. The cards are larger in the animal deck, and the structure is the same, though, in terms of what's on the card. I love the elemental energies. That's really fun. You can work with the elements in this particular deck, which is really nice. I do that sometimes, bring in some elemental work. So I do love that for that reason. But yeah, I love the structure of this particular deck. And I love the aspect that it brings in both plants and crystals together, which is really interesting. And I don't find, like, I have a few, do I have a few decks that do that? I don't think so. I have like the Crystallary, but does it bring in plants in there? No, not really. The plant one is separate from that. So yeah, I like how this particular deck does that. It brings in both together and utilizes both their energies, which I really enjoy. And I've had a good time working with this deck. I can't wait to work with this deck again. I think I'm going to work with it again in the spring because that's really what it feels like to me. It gives me those spring vibes, spring and summer. So I think I'm going to work with it again during that particular period. And then pair with it some other decks, try some other decks to see different pairings and things. Then we have the Daily Crystal Inspiration cards. This is by Heather Askinozy and published by Hay House. So I bought this also while I was away in July. The other deck that I mentioned, the Earth Alchemy, that one I pre-ordered. But this one and the Priestess of Light I bought while I was away, plus the next one that I'm going to talk about. But yes, so Crystal Grid by Mystic Mondays, that one's probably my all-time favorite crystal deck, but this one is my second. So it would be Crystal Grid first, and then this particular deck second. And I do love it. The cardstock is not my favorite, but I do love the simplicity of this particular deck. Honestly, it is absolutely amazing. You just have the crystal, you have the name of the crystal, and then you have a phrase underneath it. And I love that. The cardstock is their old glossy cardstock, which I'm not a fan of because it really sticks together. It's not like a glossy cardstock that doesn't stick. It's very sticky, and they stick together a lot. So shuffling is a bit difficult, but I overlook that because I love what's going on in the cards. I love the simplicity of the cards. I love the fact that the phrases are really simple, but also very easy to understand. So I feel like the message is very easy to get right off the bat, though there is a guidebook if you need it that goes into way deeper messages, which is great if you want to look at the message in more depth. I do sometimes, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, I get it. I know what it's telling me. So I'm just like, okay, let's just go with it. And I don't need to look into the book further. But the photography of the crystals was really well done, in my opinion. Like, I absolutely love it. And I use this deck actually quite a lot in 2022. I use it for daily poll, not daily polls, but I did use it for my planetary work. I used it for weekly work as well. Just like a 1-card message if I wanted a message. I did a 1-card poll in regards to that. But yeah, and the backs are so fun. Look at all the colors. I love them. But yes, I really love this deck. And if I had to recommend a crystal deck, typically I recommend this one as well as the Crystal Grid. The Crystal Grid has way more cards, obviously. This one only has 52. But the essence that you get from both decks is very different, like the energy. And this one's more clean, cut, straight to the point. And I feel like the other one brings in other things into it. While it is pretty straight to the point, there's like small messages on the back of the card. It also brings in astrology and like all these other great things into it. So it can definitely get a little bit more complex and add more depth. But yeah, I really love this deck for like clean, clear-cut messages because that's what I get from it when I use it. Definitely a favorite, I have to say. Then we have the Prairie Majesty Oracle. This is by Cara Simmons and artwork by Amy Putney Koenig. This is published by Hay House as well. This was indie deck that was picked up by Hay House turned mass market. And I love this deck. The edges are really rough though. Like, wow. I don't know what happened there. They're not smooth. I will say that. I love this deck for creating spreads with the question that's on top. And then we have like an added keyword and whatnot. I really love this deck. It's great for that regard. And that's what I've used it for in terms of creating spreads. It's so fun. But I haven't paired it too much with different things. I'm still trying to figure out like what tarot deck to use it with. But the messages are fantastic. And I love the fact that there's a question. I feel like the question is definitely beneficial if you want to create spreads or look more in depth into that particular topic that the question is asking of you in regard. So like if, for example, what is ready to go so I can grow? So you can pull two cards, what do I need to let go of? How will letting this go allow me to grow or increase my growth? So yeah, that's two cards right there. But I love it. It's like so fascinating to me. It's an interesting concept. The artwork is definitely interesting. I love the artwork. But yeah, I love it. It's like so great. The only thing is that the edges are really rough. So sometimes shuffling, I'm just like, oh God, am I getting paper cuts on my fingers? That's the only thing. But other than that, I really, I love the concept of this particular deck. Then we move on to the Urban Crow Oracle. This is by MJ Cullinane. And this is also published by Hay House. This was also an indie production deck that was picked up by Hay House to become mass market. And boy, am I loving that. I am loving that. This was probably one of my most anticipated releases for 2022. And that's because I have been waiting for a Crow Oracle to go with the Crow Tarot for a very long time. And these pair beautifully together. I love them so much, and I use them together for the entire month of September. September was my Crow month, and I was living for it. I was loving it. The messages are fantastic with this particular deck. Now, they just have a title on them. They don't have keywords, though you can use the title as a keyword. Some of the titles are just, like this one, waterproof. And sometimes I'm just like, what? What am I supposed to take from that? So yes, I did use the guidebook several times while I was using this deck to understand a little better what I was looking at, what I was trying to get in terms of message from that particular card that I pulled, if I wasn't understanding the particular title that was labeled here on the bottom. But I love her artwork. I'm a huge fan of her decks. I can't wait for all the decks that Hay House seems to be picking up from her because honestly, good job and congratulations to her because that's just amazing in my opinion. Her Grimalkin is coming out in the beginning of April. I can't wait for that deck. she has stated that her unfinished business, which is like a ghost tarot, is going straight to Hay House. So she's not even having an indie version of that. And I can't wait for that. It's supposed to be coming out in 2024. She has a Lenormand coming out with Hay House. I've never even seen Hay House put out a Lenormand. Does Hay House even do Lenormand? That's interesting to me. But yes, that's also coming out in 2024. And I can't wait for that. I'm definitely picking up her Lenormand. Like, hello. And then I'm pretty sure Hay House has picked up her for Hoxa Tarot. I'm pretty sure she said that already. She shared that. I don't know when that's coming out from Hay House, but yes, I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. She has so many decks coming out with Hay House, and I am living for it. I am loving it, and I cannot wait. Honestly, oh, so gorgeous, so exciting. But yes, this deck, I love it so much. Definitely a favorite of mine from 2022. I did only get it in August, I think it was. Let me just see. Yeah, I got it in August of 2022, but I loved every moment working with this deck, and I'm excited to work with this deck again in 2023. It does pair beautifully with several other decks that I own, such as the Guardian of the Night Tarot, which is also by MJ. I have paired those together. They pair amazingly together. So I'll definitely be pairing those together again in the future. And then several other decks of hers, not of hers specifically, but of other people pair well together as well. I have a few that I like the combination of the colors that go well. So definitely excited to work with this deck more, because I only worked with it like I think a month and a half. Yeah, I think a month and a half I worked with this deck in 2022. So I'm excited to work with it way more than that this year. But the month and a half that I spent with it was a jolly good time, I have to say. It was a jolly good time. Messages, fantastic. Sometimes, again, I didn't really get what was trying to be said because of the title, but that's okay. I just read the guidebook and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then, since sometimes I would get the same card often, I would be like, oh yeah, this means this. And I didn't even need to look at the guidebook because I already knew from getting the card a million times. So yes, loving it. Can't wait to work with it more. Then we have the Night School Moonlit Magic deck. This is by Maya Toll. I believe the artist is Lucille Clerk. Let me just double check. Yeah, the illustrator is Lucille Clerk. So I was correct in that regard. Which is fantastique. And this is published by Running Press, their RP mini line. And this is not a traditional Oracle deck by any means. It's more of an Oracle deck in the sense of that it is used to learn some magical concepts. So it's not the type of Oracle deck that you would use for the purposes of future telling, advice, guidance, focus, themes, things like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not in that sense. It's more in the sense of there's different concepts on the cards and you're supposed to learn stuff from them, which I really like. I really love, actually. So you get to learn all the clairs, which is super fun. And I find like someone who's just beginning to dive into witchcraft, magic, all those kind of things, I feel like this is a great tool to gain that kind of knowledge. Now, there is a larger book and a journal as well that you can pick up. I have a full unboxing and walkthrough of all three things. It'll be linked in the description box, so you can definitely check that out. And yeah, I definitely love this very much. There is, the titles sometimes repeat, but the information on the cards is not the same. It allows you to really look into different concepts in regards to that specific theme. So I know that there's a few like heroic journey cards. Those pictures are the same, but you should be choosing different journeys, different roles within that particular in that particular like a picture that's there. So yes, I love it. It's just really fun. Like, for example, like this, notice you're noticing. Set a timer for 10 minutes and write as though you're reporting. A squirrel just climbed the oak across the street, or I'm hungry. Timed writing will help loosen the bindings on your subconscious, which I find really interesting. Like, I want to do this. Might set this aside actually and do it. But yeah, it's like super fun. There's like so many different things, different activities and things that you can do. And sometimes you just want to do fun things. You don't want to just read a book and be bored out of your mind. You know, you want to do actual practical things. And I find like there's a lot of practical things in that. And there's a lot of these things where you research different ancient sites and you have to answer these questions and like gain information. And I find that so interesting because it allows you to learn about different cultures and things, which is really fun. It's like super duper fun. Like this one, Stonehenge. Like, that's so fun. Write a haiku like that. Oh man, I love this. And I really need to do this. I want to do it with the book, like make it, because the book is like set up as a course, which is super fun. And then you're supposed to do, you can do this with that. This is like mini little tidbits that you get. So you pull one, you do it if you want like a little mini session. And then the book is like more in-depth like learning activities and things like that. So it's really fun. I really like this. It's not a traditional oracle by any means, and I'm okay with that, in my opinion. Like, for me, I'm fine with that. Not everyone is going to be into this, and that's perfectly okay. You know, that's fine. Then we have the Signs of the Times Oracle. This is by Crystal Banner and published by Hay House. I do have a lot of Hay House decks, and they make a lot of oracles, and I love a lot of their oracles. So, yes, this is a modern deck. Now, I did talk about this in like an upcoming releases video that I put out. I wasn't sure about it, but then I saw a walkthrough of the full deck and I really liked it. It's modern, but I really like the take that the creator took with it. It's really interesting. And I've paired this with my Lightseers deck and I love them together. Like, they just feel really cohesive in terms of like color palette and like the fact that they're both modern. I just really love that. And I love the fact that it has a title, it has a keyword, which is absolutely amazing. And I just feel like I've gotten great messages while using it. I picked this up, I believe, in October. Yeah, in October. And I used it in November and December. So I used it for 2 months. And I really enjoyed the messages that I received from it. I used it in like multiple different ways, as well as like daily readings, planetary work. I believe I also use this for weekly readings. So yeah, we had a good chunk of time together. We did a lot of things together, a lot of different practices. So I feel like I was able to get a lot of time with this particular deck, though I do plan to use it again this year because I love this deck so much. It's definitely a favorite of mine in more of a modern sense. But yeah, the messages are fantastic. The guidebook is amazing if you want more in-depth kind of readings. I've had a good time with this particular deck and reading with it. I feel like the messages are very straight to the point, especially with the fact that like you have the title, you have the keyword, and then you have like the image that's there in the sense of like journey. I'm going to say that while you're on a specific pathway, there's a lot of things that are happening in the sense of you needing to get to the middle, for example, if that's where you're headed, right? You're headed somewhere specific. You need to do a lot in order to get there, right? Because it's a labyrinth. So it's a journey that you're going to be spending a lot of time on, because labyrinths sometimes can be very hard to get out. So, and you spend a lot of time in them. So that's like what I get from it, right? So it's very straight to the point. It's very, in my opinion, it's very clear, but sometimes it's not always going to be clear. That's why there's a guidebook. So the guidebook goes into a lot more depth on the card and provides some great information too. So I really love this deck. I'm super happy that I decided to actually bring it into my collection, even though in the beginning I was on the fence about it because it was like so modern. But I was like, you know what? This fits well with who I am and like my aesthetic, but also like what I look for in Oracle decks. So I was like, yeah, this is going to fit well. So I brought it in. I was like, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work. And it did. And I love that for it. I love it. I love it so much. Then we have the Practical Witches spell deck. This is 100 spells for love, happiness, and success. This is by Caradwyn or Saradwyn. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her first name, Greenleaf. This is published by Running Press, their RP mini line. This was sent to me for the purposes of review, just like the Night School deck. I don't know if I mentioned that when I was talking about it, but those two were both sent to me for the purposes of review. And I haven't used this yet. I haven't even really gone through it. Like, I looked at a few cards. A friend of mine told me, who has this deck, told me that a few spells repeat and things, but I haven't literally gone through it in depth to see if that's true or not. So you have different spells on the cards and things like that, and then you can like do them. I was thinking of different ways that I could use this if I was just going to use it, if I was going to use it for like spell work and things like that, or if I was going to use it in a different way. I still, as I said, I haven't gone through it, so I still haven't figured out what I'm going to use this for, but I had a few ideas, so I'm going to see, I need to go through it and see if it makes sense if it makes sense for me in the way that I'm thinking, or the different ways that I'm thinking to like actually use, because I'm not sure if if and how I'm going to use this. I do want to use this, but I don't really do spells, so I'm not really sure how yet I want to use it. I have some ideas, like I said, but I don't know if they'll work. So I need to go through each card and see if there's repeats or if there's things like that in regards to this, and see what I can do with this. Because I was thinking of maybe using it for purposes of poetry and things. I think that would be fun, to be honest. But we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, it's just a bunch of spells. The gilding is nice on this, though. I really like when they do their gold gilding, because this is really nice. Like, look how nice that is. I don't even know if you can see it. Oh, there you go. Look how nice that is. It like has glitter in it, and it's so pretty. But yes, again, not a traditional oracle deck. This is for spell work. It's an oracle deck for spell work. You won't get advice or guidance or themes or a focus with this particular deck. It's for specifically to be used for spell work. So then again, you could try and see if you can get guidance from it. Like, hey, you can do whatever you want with your deck, but I'm just saying that's not the purpose it was made for, just to let you know. So yes, not a traditional oracle deck, but an oracle deck nonetheless. So next we have the Wild Unknown Pocket Animal Spirit Deck and Guidebook. This is by Kim Kranz. This is published by Harper One. So this is the mini version of the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Deck. And of course, when I found out, that they were making a pocket edition of this deck, hell yeah, I need to pick it up. What do you mean? It's Kim Kranz. I need to add everything to my collection. So of course I need to add this, because I have the full-size version. I love the full-size version. And I love the mini version. I also have the mini Wild Unknown Tarot, so I feel like they go really well together. Very travel-friendly, because it's mini, and I love mini. Mini is fun. And mini is easy to shuffle. Nothing has changed in this deck between the full-size and mini. Just to let you know, I do need to do my side-by-side comparison, which I will film at some point and then post that. But yes, from what I can see from my own side-by-side comparison that I did, there was no difference. I found no differences. So yes, I love it. It's cute. It's small. It fits in my hand so nicely. Look at that. So yeah, I love it so much. It's a great deck. A super duper great deck. And I absolutely love it, obviously, because it's mini. Now, I will say that if you have been on the fence about this deck and you're not sure if you should pick it up, the guidebook is the exact same as the regular version. Okay, so if you wanted to try this deck, I would definitely say that pick up the pocket, because the pocket edition is way less in price compared to the full-size version, and you get the full-size guidebook but in a mini. In like a mini version. So this entire guidebook is the exact same. It has everything the same. Literally everything is the same. Just small. That's it. It's just small. So yeah. So if you were interested in this particular deck, but weren't sure about it because of the price point, now's your time to pick it up. Just saying, you don't need to do it, but I'm just giving a suggestion that this would probably be the better cost-efficient way to get into this deck if you were interested in it, but were on the fence about it. So, yes. Then we get into the Herbal Astrology Oracle, which is by Adriana Ayalis and artwork by Josephine Clerks. This is also published by Hay House. I have a lot of Hay House decks. Honestly, Hay House, if you're watching, they're probably not watching. Please, I want to review decks for you. Send me decks. Because I own so many of yours already. Like, honestly, I have so many of their decks on my wish list that are coming out and things this year. I would love to review the decks for them, but yeah, they're not watching this. They don't care. I'm no one to them. Anywho, this deck. Okay, so this was another one of mine that was an anticipated release to get. I absolutely love this deck. I love this deck so much. It's gorgeous. I love the aspect of bringing in the astrology aspect, though the astrology aspect is just in terms of the planets. But obviously with every planet, there's a ruling zodiac sign, right? So you could bring in the zodiacs as well if you're familiar with the ruling zodiac sign for the planets that are always situated here on the top. But I love it. The title, there's a keyword, which is fantastic. The artwork is so beautiful and so interesting. There's a lot of things happening in the artwork. So you really need to pay attention to multiple aspects of that, because you can find a lot in here, like a lot. It's very interesting. And yeah, I haven't used it too much, to be honest with you. I've used it a few times since I got it. I got it in November, so I didn't use it too much. I was focused on some other decks that I was using at the time, and that wasn't that long ago. It was only 2 months, right? So, or almost 3 now. But for the little time that I have spent with it, I've really liked it. The guidebook is really nice. I just need to work with it more to gain more of an opinion on how it reads, because I don't know too much on how it reads. I've only used it a few times, and I feel like there's a lot more work and things to be done with that to be able to get to know it a lot more. So yeah, but for now, I would say that the artwork is gorgeous. There's a lot of depth, I think, in there, in the artwork, as well as the guidebook. The guidebook is really a well of information, in my opinion, because there's a lot about the card itself and the plant that's going on, its origins and things like that. So I find like you'll learn a lot with the guidebook and benefit a lot from reading it as well. So moving on to these 2 Affirmator decks that I picked up in 2022, specifically in November of last year. We have the morning mantras, we have the evening mantras, and I love these decks. I have been using them. I pull one in the morning before I start work. And they're so cute and so empowering and so fun. And I just really love the little itty bitty messages that are there just to start your day. And I have definitely been enjoying working with this, so I'll probably keep using these in 2023 for sure. Out of all the Affirmator decks, I think these ones are probably my favorite. I do really want to get the tarot because the tarot is really cute. But yeah, I love the messages that I get in these particular decks. This I pull usually before bed. It's so cute. I love it. It's just a nice little thing, you know, to have. Especially if you've had a hard day. I feel like this is great to uplift. So I absolutely love it. And they're cute. They're small little mini decks. Honestly, you can't go wrong. These are like really easy to like throw in your bag and just bring with you places. You can literally travel with these because they're small and mini, which is fantastic in my opinion. And I got these both on sale, so I was really happy to pick these up for like $12 or something like that. So it was great, and I'm happy that I brought them into my collection because I feel like they've really brought some happiness into my life in the like when I start my day and then before I go to bed. So I've been really enjoying that routine that I have with these 2 particular decks. Then we have the Resilience Alchemy Oracle. This is by Maud White. This is published by Running Press, their RP Studio line, and this was sent to me specifically for the purposes of review. And I did unbox this on my channel, and I was very confused at first until I got into the guidebook. And the guidebook brings so much wealth of information when it comes to this particular deck. I really need to study. I feel like this is a deck you would need to study, not a deck you would just use just like that. Since there's like different suits and it has a whole system and things like that. And I definitely love that about it. Each card has its own spread that you can do, which is fantastic. So my plan this year is to really buckle down and learn this deck, learn its system, and do all the spreads for each card, like go through each card and do a spread. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I did decide that I'm going to use my modern hue tarot to use for the spreads with this particular deck. I feel like the colors would go well with this, since it's just a solid color for each card. So yeah, I do feel like they would pair well together. But I'm excited to use this deck. I haven't used this deck because I need to study it. I don't really know yet how to use it. So I need to study it. I need to read the guidebook. I need to learn its system and then figure out how I want to use this in terms of an oracle, like an oracle message. I feel like this would be great for like oracle messages and things. So yes, I'm really excited, but we're gonna have to wait and see how this goes, because I'm not at the point where I can really talk much about this deck in any way, shape, or form other than say that I'm excited to dive deeper into what this deck has to offer me, because I feel like it has a lot to offer. I just need to actually buckle down and do the work with it. That's really what it is. So that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully I have a great time doing it. That's really the main thing. Then we have the Signs and Skymates. This is the Astrological Compatibility deck. This is by Dose Viateno and illustrated by Nika King. This is published by Running Press, their RP mini line, and it was sent to me for the purposes of review. So this again is not what I would call a traditional oracle. It's more of companion oracle to the larger book that you can buy separately. I feel like this really focuses on astrological compatibility and learning that, though I feel like you could possibly use it as an oracle, maybe for guidance or things like that, but I would say that the messages may be a little complex. Like you may have to sit a while to understand the messages if you wanted to use it as a traditional oracle, since this is really a compatibility deck. But I think it could be done with the messages that we have here. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. I have not used this because I have not gone through the book yet. The book is like almost 800 pages, so it's going to take me a while to get through that. But I'm still learning my beginning stages of astrology, so I probably won't get to the compatibility side of things for a little while until I learn like all there is to know about regular charts. But I'm hoping at some point I can dive into this, because this is very interesting in my opinion, especially since this particular creator focuses on compatibility not just with romantic partners, but with anyone, including your own self. So that's what I really loved about that aspect, that you can use this in regards to your own self as well, that it's not just about compatibility with romantic partners and things like that. It could be totally platonic. It could be with your family. Could be with friends. It could be like you're with yourself in that regard, to get to know yourself more and get to know yourself better. The only thing I will say is that while I love their gilding, especially on their other decks, this one is a little rough. I don't know what happened there. I think it's because of the glitter. There's glitter on this particular deck. I don't know if you can tell with the lighting, but probably not, but there is glitter on it, and for some reason it's really rough compared to the other decks that I showed earlier in this video, the Spell deck and the Night School deck. Yeah, those are nice. They're gold gilding like this, but it's smooth. But this one, strange. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's a little weird, and it does feel a little strange on the hands, though I will say I have no problem shuffling it. So I feel nothing compared to like my Prairie Majesty Oracle, that one shuffling, oh my god. You can really feel the roughness from that deck. But this one, I don't feel the roughness when I shuffle. It's only when I'm like actually touching it, like then that's when I feel a little bit of the roughness. But yeah, that's the only thing. Other than that, I really like this as a concept. It's a fun concept and a fun deck to have, especially if you want to get into that compatibility, astrology side of things. But yeah, I think it's fun if people want to look into this. There will be a link for an unboxing down below in the description box. Then we have Into the Lonely Woods by Lucy Cavendish and artwork by Dan May. I've had this on my wish list for a long while. My mom got me this for my birthday, and I love this deck. I have been using it. I've been using it this month, so I only got it in December, but I didn't use it in December. Or did I use it in December? No, I don't think so. No, I've been using it in January, and I love it so much that I've been using it in January. The messages are so nice. Though I do work with the guidebook and with it because it's just like a phrase that's on the card. So I feel like reading always the more in-depth message in the guidebook is very helpful for me. But I love these monster people. It really reminds me of Where the Wild Things Are, which is a book I used to love as a kid. And I've seen the movie. But yes, I love them so much. They're like so cute and they feel like they're so huggable and whatnot. So I just really love it. And really happy that I found it at the bookstore. And happy that my mom got it for me. But yeah, look at the Lonesome Gardener. I love it. It's so cute. It's so cute. The messages are really nice. They're very... how do I say? They're gentle in a sense because it's for times of solitude and loneliness and like isolation and things like that. So the messages are very gentle and very lovely, but they're also to the point, in my opinion. So like, for example, the Lonesome Gardener. Let's see what it says in the guidebook quickly. What number is that? 5. So it says things like, that you're learning the joy of like tending to things, tending to others, tending to yourself, tending to things around you. And that putting focus on yourself and your own care and giving yourself attention is very important because it allows you to grow and it allows you to become abundant. So it's as if saying that you should tend to your own needs, which could be the pumpkin, representation of the pumpkin. And when you do, you grow as a person, right? And when you grow as a person, you learn so much about yourself in the process, but you also become happy and you tend to your own joy and you become abundant because then you're happy with who you are and what you've been doing. And that makes you abundant in that way. And it brings in like gratitude in as well. And I think that's beautiful. Obviously there's more to it. It's not just that, but I feel like that's a good gist of the card. And I feel like that is a very powerful message and very encouraging as well. So I really, really love that deck. I love this deck for that specific reason because it just feels like the messages are very empowering. Even though they're small, it's like a small little paragraph for each card, but it feels like you're bringing in a lot of depth into that empowers you to go further with your own self in your own journey as well. So I love this deck. I need to work with it more and I'm excited to work with it more, but this is definitely a favorite of mine. So far, even though I didn't work with it in 2022 and I've only started working with it now in 2023, I've really been enjoying my time with it. So I'm really happy that I was able to bring it into my collection because my mom got it for my birthday. So yay, super fun. So then we get into the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. This is by Serafina Yashimesa and artwork by Kat L. Amsel. This is an indie deck. It's the only indie deck in this collection from 2022. I was actually graciously gifted this from Brittany over on the Cosmic Lunar Soul. She, by mistake, was sent a second copy of this deck. She backed this deck originally on Kickstarter, and she was sent a second copy by mistake by the creator, who is the owner of Rue and Vervain over on Instagram and website and whatnot. And she asked if I wanted it, and she sent it to me because obviously I wanted it. So yeah, I was like super surprised, and I honestly, we had this whole thing in my unboxing, so just go look at the unboxing. But the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. The guidebook is a separate book. It doesn't fit in the box, but it's a separate book. Also fantastic. This is like all about shadow work, and I love shadow work, so we have a good time together. And I have been using this. I've been doing some of the spreads. I've been working with gaining messages and things in regards to my shadow and doing some shadow work for myself. And I have been enjoying the messages that I've been receiving. There's a title, there's keywords. It's fantastic. You can get a lot from just the keywords if you didn't want to use the guidebook. But if you wanted more information, the guidebook is there to give you more information, which is always a plus. And I feel like the messages and the cards that are in here are amazing. They're not only dark, but also light. So there's like a mix, which is very nice. I do love when Oracle decks like this are not just positive, 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 and they have, you know, balance in them. And this deck does it really well. The card size is perfect. It's smaller than standard Oracle, which is fantastic. So I'm just in love with this deck and so happy that I had the opportunity to get it, I guess, or that it was the opportunity that it was gifted to me. Like, it's like perfect full circle moment, I guess. I don't know. It just amazes me. Like, the gratitude. I have so much gratitude. The fact that I was able to get this deck by the ways of being gifted it. It's just amazing, and I'm so grateful for everything that has happened surrounding this particular deck. It's just been an amazing experience. But yes, I love this deck very much. Highly recommend it. It is indie, so it is on the pricier side of things. But in my opinion, it's definitely worth the whatever the price is in the US. I don't even remember what the price is in the US, but it's expensive in Canadian dollar. I think it's over $100 or something, but yeah, I think anyway. I think it's high in the US. I think it was 70, or was that Canadian? I don't remember. I don't even remember how much this was when I checked the website, but I did talk about it in my unboxing, which will be linked in the description box. So you'll get all that information in there, because right now I don't remember. It's a few while back. So yes, but this is a great deck and fantastic for shadow work. I've been having a fun time with it in terms of shadow work, for sure, for sure. Okay, 7 more decks to go. I know this video is long, but we have 7 more decks. So this is the Modern Nirvana Oracle. This is by Jennifer Sodini. Oh boy, there's a lot of people. Okay, Jennifer Sodini, Kat Graham, Frank Ilaridi. Apologies if I mispronounced the surname. Bryant Wood, and illustrated by Natalie Miller. This is published by Chronicle Prism, which is an imprint of Chronicle Books. And I bought this in December. And I really wanted this deck. It came out, I don't know when it came out, October, I think. I have Jennifer Sodini and Natalie Miller's Menti Oracle, which is published by Running Press. And I love this deck so much. Now, I didn't get to use it in December because I was working with other decks, and I only got this in December. But I have been working with it in January, and I have been loving it. I pair it with my Fifth Spirit Tarot, which I also got in December. And they work so well together. The messages that you get from this are amazing. Now, they just have titles, so if you wanted to, I don't know, like how you would work with this intuitively, to be honest with you. Emptiness, probably. You could probably do that with a keyword, but really the image is not really going to give you much in terms of intuition, in my opinion. The title might in some cases, but not always. So I do work with the guidebook in regards to this particular deck when I work with it. And I really love the information that's associated with the card in the guidebook. The guidebook is like, I think it's about a page to between 1 page to 3 pages per card. So there's a lot of information per card. And I find like I get really good information, good readings. And I typically only scan. I scan the little blurbs that are on the pages and see what it is that I can glimpse from this particular deck that I can like grab quickly, you know. There is a mantra for every single card, which I absolutely love. So typically I'll read that first. and see if I can just get a meaning from there without having to read the rest of the guidebook. But there's times where I'm just like, I really want to read everything that's associated with this card. So I do. And I love it. I love this deck so much. And I'm so happy that I decided to bring it into my collection. I was like on and off with it. I didn't pre-order it. I wanted to, but then I was like, no, I think I'll wait. And then I waited and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get this. And I got it and so happy that I did. So happy. Then we have the Buzzfeed Oracle cards. This is by Buzzfeed and published by Running Press, the RP mini line. I was sent this for the purposes of review. And this is just a silly, goofy time, honestly. It's not a deck that I would take seriously, but I do love it. I think it has a good time, good vibes. It's definitely funny. Why is this backwards? What's going on? Oh, some cards are backwards. Oh, wait, no. Wait. Okay, no. Everything's fine. That one was the only one that was backwards. Okay, weird. But, yeah, I just love it. It's just a fun time to me. It's not something that I take seriously. I will definitely use this, especially if I just want to have like, not a serious reading, but I want to have like a good feel time, especially with these nostalgia cards. Like sometimes I just want to have a fun time with my decks and just play. And I feel like this is a good deck for that because you can literally just play with this particular deck. So I feel like if I found like fun spreads or something, like a fun goofy time spread, like I love this Coral Reef card with the sad face bag, I feel like it would be great to just have a fun goofy little spread time. Do readings for like your friends, just like a little fun moment, and not be like so serious and just like be goofy and laugh and have a funny time. I feel like that's good for, like, this is good for them. And I'm not mad at it, honestly. It's really great. It's so fun. Needs to be shuffled better. The gilding needs another coat. Like, they should have done this a few times because you can still see all the colors, in my opinion. Like, I can still see the colors in like person, but yeah, they should have done maybe a second or third coat on it to be a little bit darker, to be a little bit more darker black. But other than that, I'm not mad at it. It's fun. It's funny. And sometimes you just need to have a laugh and not be so serious. And that's what this is, in my opinion. So then we have these 3 decks, all of them which are created by Anielle Reed. All 3 of these were sent to me by Anielle for the purposes of review. So we have the Magic and Mediums Oracle, we have the Slavic Oracle, and we have the Golden Light Oracle. Now the first one here is illustrated by Ash Colored, and these 2 here are illustrated by Cindy Monroe, I believe, or Monroy. I think I've been calling her Monroe the whole time in my unboxings, and I'm pretty sure her last name is Monroy, and I'm really sorry about that. I think I read that wrong. But anywho, these 3 decks will be live on my channel actually starting the week of February 6th. So you'll start to see these come out, the unboxings come out, because I already filmed them and they're edited and already uploaded. So they're just scheduled to release that week, start releasing that week. So yes, these were sent to me towards the end of December. I actually got these Christmas Eve? Yeah, I got them on Christmas Eve. They arrived at my post office on that day. So I went to pick them up because my post office was open, which was surprising to me. But this is really beautiful. It's, in my opinion, a sort of limited color palette, but I really love it. And it's gorgeous. I have yet to work with this one yet. So I don't really know how it reads other than what I showed in my video in terms of the guidebook. I did do a sample reading in that particular video. Well, I did a sample reading for all of them, but yes, but I do love the artwork. I love the cards. There's a lot of keywords in the book. So you get a lot, not just the title that's on the card, which is absolutely fantastic. But I am excited to work with these 3 decks. I have been working with the Golden Light one this month in January. So this one is the Slavic Oracle. I am planning to work with this and pair it with the Tarot de Calotides, because I feel like they pair well together. And I'm excited for that because I really need to work with that tarot since it confuses me, some of the cards. So I feel like this would be like two birds with one stone kind of scenario where I'm working with two new decks, but together. The artwork is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And then the last one, which is the Golden Light Oracle. This one is probably my favorite in terms of art style. And then I would say the Magic and Mediums would probably be my second, with the Slavic Oracle being the third. But I love this deck so much, and I have been working with this in January. And so far, I've really been enjoying it. I love it so much. And she does have a fourth deck coming out, actually. It's available for pre-order. The Kickstarter, they've already done it. It's set to release at the end of 2023. So, yes. But I love this so much. The titles are great, in my opinion. And again, I do work with the guidebook sometimes. And I love the fact that this is linen. This is a linen cardstock. This one, too, is a linen cardstock. The Slavic Oracle is not a linen cardstock. So I don't know why they went with a different cardstock in between the two decks. But this one is just a regular cardstock. Just a regular gloss. But that's fine. But the linen is really nice. Linen is the best, honestly, in my opinion. It's fantastic. And I'm really grateful that I was sent these for review. I'm actually really excited to dive into these two in particular, since I've already been working with the Golden Light Oracle. And I can't wait to see what kind of messages and how the readings are that are in store for these particular decks once I use them. Okay, we've made it almost to the end. This is the second to last deck. Oh my god. Literally, I have been filming for like, I believe 2 hours now. Like 2 hours and a half, I think now. And my back is killing me from sitting here. I don't have support on my back. Oh my god. So, yes, let's get into this deck. We have the Let Go Oracle by Akal Pritam. And I'm so excited. So I've wanted this deck for a while. It's just a little mini deck from Rockpool Publishing. And it has like a photo and then a message on the other side. And I wanted this deck, and then Rockpool announced, or did they announce? I don't know if they announced it or I found it on Amazon, but I saw that she was coming out with 5 new decks this year in 2023. They're all coming out in April, I believe, 4 of which are mini. 1 is a full-size deck. So yes, I'm so excited. Now, I got this at the end of December, so it literally came to me on December 30th. I don't understand the cardstock. So the cardstock feels like cardboard. It's very strange. Honestly, it feels very weird. I love the artwork, though. I love the messages on the back. It's really cute. I love the fact that it's pocket. You can just throw this in a purse and just like go on with your day. It's great. I'm excited for her other decks. I just hope that they don't use this particular cardstock, because this cardstock is not nice. It's not nice at all. I really don't like it. I was assuming that this would be like a glossy cardstock like their other ones, like their other mini decks that they have. But yeah, it's like cardboard. It's really weird. I'm not a fan of the cardstock, but I love everything else about it. And for like, how much was this? 17? No, I got this on sale. It was 16 something, 16.95 or something like that. It's really cute, and the little magnetic closure is like so cool and everything. Like, I'm not mad at it, but like the cardstock is not it. It's not my favorite in regards to this particular one. The last one that I'm going to go into in 1 second. Now that's the cardstock I expected and actually like. So we shall see how her other decks come out. I'm hoping that they are not this particular cardstock is all I'm saying. And the last deck of 2022 in terms of Oracle, we have the Chakra Love. Raise Your Crystal Vibrations. This is by Katie Manickshaw. I apologize if I mispronounce the surname. Also the font is so small from where I'm sitting, and my glasses I'm just like trying to strain to read the font because it's so far. But anyway, and I'm so tired. I've been filming for like the past 2 hours and a half. So yes. This is the cardstock I expected. It's like a glossy cardstock. This cardstock is nice. It feels like it's durable. It can withstand a lot. So yeah, it's Chakra Associations. Is this upside down? Oh, it's upside down. Sorry. with a crystal or some kind of pattern, and then the chakra association, a keyword, and then, oh yeah, it is a crystal. It tells you what crystal it is, and then a keyword with a message on the other side. I love it. I was looking for a small little mini little chakra type of deck. We have like balance, and then we go into the other chakras. So yeah, they're all colored coded and whatnot. It's super fun. They're like rainbow, which I really like. They're great. The last ones, the chakra balance, they all have the same background, but the other ones all have different backgrounds, which is fun. I like it. And again, it was like, I don't remember how much this was, $17.95 Canadian or something like that. So yeah, it's just a fun little deck. It's in that little magnetic closure as well, which I really like. I need to get a few more decks like this from Rockpool. They have like a variation assortment of a few of these. So I need to get a few more that I have on my wish list, because I have a few others that I really like that I want to pick up. But yeah, I wanted a little chakra deck and I got one, and that's it. That's all. I haven't really worked with it yet, like to get messages and stuff. I did only get this like at the end of December. It's only been like a month that I've had this deck in my collection. So I haven't worked with it yet, but I'm not mad at it, and I'm excited to work with it in 2023. Okay, so you can't see all of the decks that I have because we went through quite a lot of decks, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any of these decks, if anything caught your eye, interest you. What decks did you bring into your collection that were Oracle in 2022? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you haven't seen my tarot version of this, it's definitely linked in the cards above. It will be linked in the description box below. I also have my Oracle deck collection from 2021 that I showed, and I will leave that link also down in the description box below as well, in case you wanted to check out my previous decks that I brought into my collection the year before. So I do thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on that bell so you can be notified every time I post a brand new video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it's greatly appreciated and helps me in the long run. Thank you so much, and have a great day.